What's up, everyone? Kevin here from Skywatcher. Welcome to another episode of the What's Up Webcast. We do this every Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific, right here at the Skywatcher USA YouTube channel. Cover everything from what's up in the nighttime sky to equipment to helpful tips and tricks. And of course, at the end of the month, we have a special guest to talk about their specialty in the field of astronomy. It is Friday the 13th, December 2024, Friday the 13th. This is our second to last episode of 2024. We are doing a gift guide. This is our second try. This was supposed to be back in November, but we announced a solar scope instead. So we punted the episode to today. I'm sure many of you already have hopefully, your gifts all figured out. But if you don't, we're going to give you some ideas. And yeah, we'll have a good time. And so good times to be had for all. Some quick announcements. If you like what you see here, please go ahead and subscribe. Leave a like on the video. Let us know we're doing a good job. We do need ideas for future episodes for 2025. So if you have some, email us at info@skywatchusa.com and title it What's Up and let us know what you'd like to see. What else is going on? Lots of stuff is going on. You guys saw Heliostar. We got more details coming up on that. What fun stuff is going on? It's been a really busy few weeks. We've had our end of the year meetings, which is why I wasn't here last week. It was a pre-recorded episode. Got new stuff we're testing, new stuff we're going to announce after the new year. There's some really fun stuff that's coming up the pipeline very, very quickly. If you're planning to go to NEAF next year, Skywatcher is going to have some really fun stuff besides the wave mounts and the Heliostar solar telescope. There's some other stuff that's actually coming together as well. Some other stuff that's going on. You can head over to skywatch.threadless.com. We've got all kinds of swag over there if you want to support the channel any further. That's always great. We've got a ton of stuff on sale. You can head over to skywatchusa.com and check out our sales. We got optical tubes on sale. I think we've got mounts on sale. There's a bunch of fun stuff that's actually on sale right now. You can pop over there, check all that out. Here we go. There we go. All kinds of mounts are available. If you want to snap Dobbs around, there's a ton of stuff on sale. So, and it's not too late. We have a lot of inventory available. We're finally out of all that COVID junk, which delayed stuff a few years ago. Inventory is well packed. So if you need something, you can get it. If you don't see it on our website, check your favorite dealer. Like the Heritage telescopes and our Virtuoso GTIs have been incredibly popular for holiday gifts this year. We have some 130s in stock. If you're looking for the 150s, you may need to dig around with some of our dealers. It is the last month to get a hold of the limited edition 25th anniversary Virtuoso GTIs. So we have those in stock too if you want to pick them up. If we're talking holiday stuff, that's a great telescope. It's good for the moon. It's good for the planets. It's got GoTo on it. You can take the tube off and put the tube on something else. Like, there's a wide range of stuff you could do with it. Great telescope there. And while we're talking about it, if you're in the Phoenix area and you have nothing going on tonight, my program, Focus Astronomy, is doing an event at our friends at Four Peaks Mining Co., which is a gem and mineral store out in Scottsdale. And if you want to know more about that, their address is right here, 9500 East Via de Ventura at Scottsdale. It's near the big aquarium that's out there. If you live here, you'd be more familiar with it. But we're doing a stargazing tonight from 6:30 to 9. And if you want to win a Virtuoso GTI 25th anniversary, we are raffling one off. And all the proceeds are going to, where is it? Let me find it really quick. I forgot the name of the organization. Natural Restorations, which is an organization that restores like burn areas from fires and stuff like that. They try to keep our natural resources here in Arizona looking great after wildfires and stuff like that. So all the proceeds are going to that. So you can purchase a raffle ticket from the store. But we are going to be raffling off one of these later tonight. If you want to pick one up, $775 retail. You'll be able to walk away with it tonight. Again, 6:30 to 9 is the event. Drawing is at 8:30. So hope to see you there. You don't actually even need to be present to win, but I will be there. My crew will be there. Some friends of ours. We'll have a bunch of telescopes out. Come out, say hi, look at the moon, look at Saturn, see some cool rocks, and hopefully we'll see you there tonight. So let's get going. What else is going on? We shipped all the totem patches, I believe, are done. I think November needs to be finished, and then we're waiting for December. And then we're going to start picking the winners for our totem contest. If you want to know more about the totem contest or imaging contest, you go over to skywatcherusa.com, go to media, target of the month. We should be unveiling our 2025 patch here soon. They're putting the finishing details on that. And but we're going to pick the best image from every month. And then those top 12 images will go to our astrophotographer judges. First place gets $3,000 towards the skywatcherusa.com website. Second place, $1,000. Third place, $500. So if you've been looking at like a wave mount, first place could score one with a $3,000 gift card, essentially. So anyway, we're getting close to doing that. That'll be probably in January. We'll be announcing all of that. So lots going on. So anyway, let's get started with our holiday gift guide. I have a little presentation, but I'll probably vary all over it with that. But we're just here to hang out and have fun. If you've got questions about products, you can throw it in the chat too, since we weren't here last week. It's always fun talking to you guys. So first off, books. Books are always a great thing to go with any telescope for any beginner. And even as advanced astronomers, if you've been doing this for years, a good book is a very good resource to have at your disposal if you need to do some reference work or you want to show someone stuff. So one of my favorite books, these are like every year we cover this one, Night Watch. Night Watch is a great beginner book. I think they've updated this possibly. I'll need to go back and actually look. It teaches you a little bit about equipment, a little bit about the nighttime sky. It really just kind of gives you a good intro point, especially if you're new to telescopes and you don't really know the ins and outs. Calling up tech support and being like, the doohickey doesn't work. Yeah, that doesn't help. So books like this can help you be like, this is an eyepiece, this is a diagonal, this is a Newtonian, Cassegrain, reflector, whatever. It gives you a good crash course. Now, if you want to ramp it up further than that, the best one and the most up-to-date is the Backyard Astronomer's Guide. This is the 4th edition. I looked this up last night on Amazon. You can get this Amazon Prime for like $34 or something like that. Prime. I'm going to have to buy it. I have the 3rd edition. I don't have the new one, the 4th one. This book covers everything. Equipment, visual observing, nightscapes, imaging, night sky, understand the constellation, stuff like that. It doesn't matter what level of astronomer you are, whether you're beginning to really advanced. The Backyard Astronomer's Guide is a book that I think every single astronomer should have in their library. It's a great reference book. And even if you know a lot about what's in that book, if you ever meet somebody who is new and maybe they're coming over for some help, it's great to be able to pull that book out and be like, hey, this is something that would be worth investing in if you're getting started. Because as we all know, there's a lot of equipment out there. There's a lot of equipment nowadays. And it's hard to keep up with a lot of it. And sometimes it can be very confusing. And I think many of us advanced astronomers can kind of forget what it's like to be a beginner. And when you go online or you go on Cloudy Nights or any forum website, Reddit, YouTube, whatever, there's going to be a million answers to the same question. Everyone's going to have their opinion on it. So a book like this is a really good chunk of information that you can always go back on, and it's coming from Terrence Dickinson and Alan Dyer, two incredible gentlemen that write this book. But this is a great book, and I think everybody should actually have a copy of this. Whether you use it all the time or not, great book to actually have. Let's see. There's a couple questions floating around in here. Let's see what you guys are asking about. Any tips and tricks on how to properly balance a 5-inch refractor on an AZ EQ6 in equatorial mode? Triplets are top. Yeah. So refractors are natively front heavy. They've got a big old lens in the front, lots of glass, and they're generally front heavy. So you have to balance right ascension and declination on an equatorial mount. It doesn't really matter where you start, in my opinion. It might be a little easier if you balance the deck axis first, where the telescope is mounted to. That's pretty easy. I usually move my refractor horizontal to the ground and very carefully, usually have one hand on the scope, unlock just a little bit, loosen those saddle tightening bolts. Just enough to where the telescope can move front to back. And so the plate is still captured within side of the saddle so it doesn't come tumbling out. But loosen those bolts, and you're going to move the refractor side to side until you find the balance point. Now, some refractors have a relatively short dovetail plate, and if that's the case, you might need to actually slide the telescope within its rings. If that still isn't enough, you might need a longer dovetail. I usually like getting the Losmandy 14-inch dovetails if you have the scope large enough to handle that. It gives you a lot of room to really work with. And my favorite thing about a Losmandy dovetail is they have the little measurement tick marks on the side, so you know exactly where you need to put it. But yeah, you're just going to move the telescope side to side, whether that's on the dovetail or in the rings. And it's like a teeter-totter. You're just trying to get it to where it doesn't move. And then once it's balanced, make sure you lock the saddle down. If you loosen the rings, tighten the rings down, but make sure it's secure. Once deck is balanced, you're then going to return the telescope to its home position, lens facing north. And then you're going to loosen the right ascension axis, and you're going to slowly bring it horizontal, where the counterweight bar is horizontal to the ground, and so is the telescope. And just kind of feel with your hands what side is heavy. And then you're going to move the counterweights up or down the bar until you get balanced. So if it's telescope side heavy, you're going to move the weights further away from the scope. If it's weight side heavy and it's pulling this way, or whatever side the weights are on, you're going to bring the weights up towards the telescope and just adjust that until it's balanced. If you can't get that balance, it probably means there's too much weight, so you're either going to need to add or remove counterweights depending on your setup. But every setup's going to be unique. But that's how you balance an equatorial mount. So hopefully that helps. Just be very careful. Take your time. There's no magic behind it. Just take your time and make sure you're paying attention and not talking to someone while you're doing it. Let's see. Hello, Kevin. Just ordered my 8-inch SynScan Dob. Can't wait. Awesome. Is there a reason why the 8-inch doesn't come with collimation knobs on the rear mirror like the other models? That's a good question. So yes, our 6 and 8-inch don't come with the larger knobs like the larger 10-inch and up. I don't know the full reason of that. That was decided long before I worked for the company. I wish there were knobs on it. We probably could put knobs on it. It's probably worth a discussion with the factory too. I don't have an answer other than someone along the way decided to do that, and it's just never been changed by us. But cost is one of those. You'd be amazed what adding a few bolts can add. But it's worth a conversation. So, but the little hex screws that are on the back there, they're very low profile. They're inset, so they can't get bumped. And using a hex wrench, it sucks you have to use a tool, but it gives you a lot finer adjustments because you have that leverage. So they hold collimation pretty well too. But I like that they are flush and they're not sticking out. You can't get caught on anything like a car seatbelt or something if it's in the back of the car. Other than that, I really don't know other than cost. Someone along the way decided that, and we've just never looked into it to switch it out. So maybe that's a conversation that needs to happen lately. So anyway, hopefully that helps you guys. Let's see. Meteorites. A lot of you guys know I'm a fan of meteorites. You should be too. Meteorites are a very cool, unique little gift, and they're generally small. It's a good little stocking stuffer, or if you just don't know what to get someone and they're into space, a meteorite is kind of like a fossil for space. And there's all kinds of them out there too. But be careful, meteorite collecting is a slippery slope. We will have our meteorite display out tonight if you happen to be at our Four Peaks Mining Company event tonight. We will have our meteorite displays out there, and the store actually has meteorites for sale. There's a couple of them in their display cases. But meteorites are a very cool thing to have. I find they go hand in hand really well with astronomy because you can actually feel a piece of the universe rather than just looking through a telescope. So it's kind of a cool thing just to have around the house. It's a conversation piece. If you're new to meteorites, make sure you're buying from a very reputable source. I like using aerolite meteorites. If I had to decide on one, let me pull them up real quick so you guys can see. There's a lot of really good places out there. I'm sorry, I should probably go to their web page. Aerolite Meteorites is one of the co-hosts of Meteorite Men. If you used to watch it, Jeff Notkin owns Aerolite Meteorites. Jeff's a very nice guy. But they have all kinds of stuff, and they organize it really well. They've got a great team over there. There's a lot of other ones out there as well. But if you're just getting started, Aerolite has a very nice collection of stuff to choose from for almost every budget. Now, some recommendations from me having invested into this stuff. Campo del Cielo meteorite is very good, although the price is going up because there's no more export from Argentina for Campo meteorites. Muñalusta is a very popular one nowadays. There's a lot of it. It's fairly stable. It doesn't rust as bad as some others. Simchin meteorite, that's a fun one because you can get iron or you can get the pallasites without the gemstones inside of it. Socotoline, that's another cool one. They're these very wild shapes. They can be a little spendy if they get really exotic looking. Chelyabinsk was the one from Russia in 2013. So that one's kind of cool because it has some interesting, people remember it. And Saracho, which is a pallasite, which has the gemstones in there. It's fairly affordable. It's fairly stable. I don't have a piece of that one, but you can get, there's a lot of material out there and it's pretty abundant. So you can go there. If you have no idea what you're looking for when it comes to meteorites and you want to get something for someone or yourself, when you go to Aerolite or a good meteorite dealer, you want to ask them, hey, I want a nice piece, but I also want something that's stable. Stable means it's not going to disintegrate or rust or fall apart on you. And there are certain ones that are very prone to doing that. The one that I had fall apart, and it's very easy to get, and there's a lot of it, but I would highly recommend that you avoid it, is Brenham meteorite. Brenham is here in the U.S. I believe it's in Kansas is where the fall was. It is a pallasite. It's fairly affordable in the world of pallasites. Pallasites are the stony irons with the stone and the gemstones inside of it. That falls apart very, very quickly. It just disintegrates if it's not handled very, very carefully. So if you're getting something as a collector, I would really recommend you stay away from Brenham unless it's what's called stabilized, where someone has done work to put it in acrylic or something like that. So, let's see. Do we only need to balance the deck when using the AZ EQ6 in Altaz mode? Yeah, you don't need to balance the right ascension when you're in Altaz mode because there's no weight to balance when the axis is at 0. So, or 90 degrees, whatever it is. You can put a counterweight on the other side if you want to keep it from kind of like tipping with a heavy load on it, but you don't have to balance it. You just want to balance the technically the deck axis, so that way when you loosen the clutcher, you're not putting a bunch of strain on the motors there. So yeah, you're correct on that. Can you buy a raffle ticket for tonight without being there? Yes, you can buy a raffle ticket for the Four Peaks event. If you want to do that, their phone number, where is it? Oh, right here. 480-434-6074. You have to call the store. You can talk to Teresa or Susan. You can say Kevin sent you and I want to buy raffle tickets for tonight. If you are not there when the ticket is called, that's fine. You either have to come get it at the store, and if you're not local, you have to pay for the shipping to get it to you. And that is all on your own at that point. So just FYI. So hopefully that answers all that. So let's see what else is going on. Accessories. We could do a whole multi-hour episode on the amount of accessories that you could get for telescopes. This filter isn't new, but it is one that I use a ton when I'm doing imaging from the backyard, and that is the Antlia Tri-Band RGB filter. They have a new quad band, which I haven't used, and I don't know what the difference is. And from talking to some people, I don't know that it's really worth it, or the Tri-Band really kind of brings it home without much of a problem. I have a Tri-Band filter, and I really like to just talk to you guys about what I have experience with. The Tri-Band RGB is a really nice light pollution filter. It's fairly aggressive. It's not quite narrowband, but it's not quite broadband. And it passes light in red, green, and blue, so it makes it a very effective filter for one-shot color imagers. You could even use it as a very aggressive, like, luminance filter for monochrome if you want to. It cuts a lot of light out. It still passes all the major bands, O3, H alpha, nitrogen, S2, stuff like that. So it's a nice filter to have, and I don't know where mine is at the moment. It's plugged into a scope somewhere is where it is. They're not too spendy. I think they're under $200. You can get them 1.25 inch or 2 inch. They're a nice little stocking stuffer because they come in a nice little case. But the Antlia Tri-Band RGB is a very nice filter for almost any imager, and it covers a wide range of stuff, and it's very effective at combating light pollution if you want something that's a lot more aggressive than like a CLS or L Pro or low glow. You know, there's a million different things out there if you want to mess with filters. Filters in general are a very good thing to have. I'm a big fan of filters. If we're just on the topic, you know, if you're getting started in astronomy, it's like, hey, what should I get for my next filter? A polarizing filter is a very nice thing to have. If you're new, polarizers are great for the planets, like Venus. They're good for the moon, Jupiter. It's just a nice filter to have. If you're trying to expand your filters and your visual, a nice oxygen 3 filter, UHC. If you're trying to flush out what I like to call the trinity of deep sky filters, H beta filters are nice. That's going to be your horse head filter, but it does way more than just the horse head, and it mileage varies depending on what scope you're doing. But H beta is really fun, especially on like the Orion Nebula. It gives you this really cool look on the Orion Nebula, plus California Nebula, all kinds of stuff. But filters are great to have. If you're looking for more universal filters for like planets and maybe some light deep sky observing, the Botter Moon and Sky Glow is a very nice one to have in the set. And the Botter Contrast Booster is also a good one. That's actually the 6 filters that I have in my cases personally. O3, UHC, H beta, polarizer, contrast booster, and moon and sky glow. Those are the 6 filters that I use for all my telescopes. I don't mess with color planetary filters. I think they're kind of a waste of time. I don't like the color hues of them, and I don't have ND filters. So that and an anti-cloud filter. Yes. So thanks, Bucky. But yeah, but if you're an imager, and a lot of us now are using one-shot color cameras because they're convenient, they're very sensitive, they're clean, and there's a lot of filters to support it. The Antlia Tri-Band, if you want something that's really effective in light pollution, but you don't want to go all the way to like a dual band, check out the Tri-Band RGB. Let's see, there's a question in here. I have my AZ EQ6 now that I'm 50 now and will be 60 by the time I learn how to use it. Okay. We have a tech support team if you need help with SynScan Pro or the hand controller. There's a manual provided. There's a lot of resources out there if you need help. It shouldn't take a decade to learn our hand controller, or if you need help, we're here to help you. So I will leave it at that. Moving on. So next up, of course, let's talk cameras. Cameras are crazy to keep up with nowadays. There's so much stuff that comes out. Sony pounds the market with new sensors all the time. There's good camera companies out there. We're all familiar with ZWO. They're all over the place. But that is not the only camera company in the world. There are other camera companies out there. Join an astronomy club. Good shot from Eric. Yeah, if you need help, an astronomy club is a great way. Astronomy clubs are great for a multitude of reasons. Number one, if you need help with equipment, there's a lot of smart people in there, a lot of opinions in there, but there's a lot of smart people there. Number two, it's a social thing. You get to meet people in the hobby. You get to go on outings with people. It's a good way to make friends with people that are like-minded and have similar interests. And I don't care what your interest is, whether it's photography or astronomy or fish tanks or mowing your lawn or rockets or whatever, pick your poison. There is a group out there somewhere, and it's really good to get out and socialize with people that have like-minded interests. So yes, thank you to Eric for throwing the join an astronomy club. They're everywhere. You'd be surprised where they are, but they are everywhere. So just check your local club. They're more than welcome. They're usually very welcoming to beginners and people who want to get involved. So that's a great response. Thanks, Eric, for throwing that in there. All right, cameras. Wide range of cameras. ZWO's got some good stuff. They're not the only camera company in the world, though they are very large. You also have like companies like the Camera Here, the Player Ones. Player One is a very serious camera company. They have some really nice offerings. I have a lot of friends who are actually shifting to Player One. Now, you don't get the ASI Air experience, which I get is very popular, but if you don't want to be stuck inside of an ecosystem and crack out of that, Player One's got some very nice cameras. Of course, you also have QHY, FLI, SBIG, Starlight Express. Apogee's not really in the game anymore. QSI is still in there. I'm missing the name. They own QSI, and I can't remember what they're called. I can picture the camera right now, and I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, there's a lot of good camera companies out there, so go on and check that out. Now, when it comes to camera sensors, and my camera shut off. That's better. When it comes to camera sensors, there's 4 now that are going to really be dominating the markets. And we're all very familiar with 3 of these because they've been around for a while. But the newest chip that's on the market nowadays for deep sky cameras, and I just got one for testing purposes, is a 585 sensor. I can't tell you why this camera's here. It's for testing. You guys will find out very soon why we have this camera. It's a ZWO one because we're using ASI Air because it's convenient. This is the 585 cooled. These are like $600. And it's not the biggest chip in the world, but it's a pretty healthy sized chip. The pixels are very small. So if you're using small, fast stuff like that, great little camera. The images are clean. It's a decent size sensor depending on what focal length you're running with. This would be very good for a lot of those little short refractors out there, like a Hyperstar 6. Sweet little camera. But now you don't have to spend like $1,000 on a camera. And it's cooled, which is even better. I don't know if they make a monochrome version of it. I haven't looked. Maybe you guys know. But anyway, that's a one-shot color one. 585 cooled one-shot color. Great camera if you're getting interested, although the chip is a little small. Of course, we all know the 533. That's a very good sized chip. It's a 1-inch square sensor. It's not by any means the largest sensor available, but for the money, for about $1,000 or less, the 533 is a very clean sensor. 3.8 if we round up, 3.76 micron pixels. Very usable with a lot of the modern day focal lengths, between 500 to 1,000 millimeters. These 3.76 micron, which the next 3 chips are going to be. Great combinations. 533s are great with like the RASA 8. All of our little Newtonians, like the Quattros, the 150 in particular, is a great combo with a 533. Lots of these refractors. There's so many freaking refractors on the market nowadays. It's hard to keep track. But 533, great, decent size sensor, good real estate on it, not incredibly spendy, and it is, I know for a fact, available in one-shot color and monochrome now. And if you're on a budget, the 533 is nice because it can utilize 1.25" filters or 36 millimeter as well. So you don't need to go with these big spendy 2-inch or 50 millimeter filters. If you're on a tighter budget or on a smaller system, a 533 with a little filter wheel and some basic filters, you're ready to go. Now, if you want to step up to something bigger, there's the 571. A lot of you might know the 571 better as the 2600. That is how ZWO brands it. I believe the camera that's in the picture right here, this is a Poseidon Pro from Player One. This is their 571 model. When you go to the specs of whatever camera company you're looking at, they'll tell you what chip it is. Some companies put the name of the sensor in there. Other companies have their own marketing name for it. Just check the details. But the 571 is a crop sensor. It is a good sized chip. 571 will keep you busy for a long time. It's very clean. APS-C size sensor. I think it's about 26 megapixels. You can do some serious damage with a 571 based camera nowadays. It works with a wide range of scopes, and it's basically the bigger brother of the 533, but it is quite large and compare it to the 533, and it's still not crazy expensive. You're about $2,000 in, but I mean, that sensor size like 10, 15 years ago was money. Nowadays, it's crazy for what you can get these. And if you're shopping used, which be careful with cameras and used, we might be able to pick something up. Lastly is the 455. This is the big full frame. They do make bigger chips than this, but 455 is kind of the big boy camera. It's a full frame sensor. I would be very aware of the telescope that you're using if you're going full frame, because not a lot of telescopes really handle full frame. There's a lot of telescopes out there, they say they can handle full frame. There's probably some caveats to it. But full frame is a big chip. I mean, it makes a 585 like itty bitty. They're like 61 megapixel sensors. You better have a big hard drive to handle the data set that comes from a 455 sensor. ZWO, it's the 6200 model. I think QHY, it's the 600 model. I think it's the Zeus in Player 1. And then I don't know what everyone else calls it. But anyway, those are the four major sensors that are on the market nowadays. There's a bunch of other sensors out there, but for deep sky, those are some really good sensors. All very high resolution. I know for a fact 533, 571, and 455 sensors come in monochrome and color. I don't know about the 585 though. I'm kind of new to that sensor. All these have no amp glow and they're extremely low noise as well. So they're very good sensors to work with. Let's see. Questions. Filters work better with refractor or reflectors? It doesn't really matter too much, at least from my findings. But aperture is very helpful when it comes to filters. The more light that's being pushed through them, the more effective they tend to be. So you might not get as much, you might not be able to utilize some of the more aggressive filters like an O3 on a small refractor. It's going to cut a fair amount of light out. On a larger instrument, it'll have some more power to it. But obviously refractors get pretty spendy and pretty cumbersome very quickly, and you're kind of limited on the aperture size. So it's not that filters are better for one design or another. They just tend to be more effective on larger aperture telescopes. Let's see. Do you think the AZ GTI is a good option to buy my wife to let her have go-to? Yeah, I mean, they're small, they're convenient. A friend of ours, that's what his wife uses when she goes out, is a AZ GTI, just because it's small and convenient and it's got go-to on it. So I know for a fact there's a lot of people using it for that very reason. So I don't see why that should be any problem if that's what she's looking for, and you think that'll be a good fit. And so yeah, AZ GTI is a fun little mount to noodle around with, and the nice thing is they're not really that spendy, and they're great for like little telescopes. So you can just pop out, go look at the moon, do deep sky with it. It's a very nice little mount if you're on the go. So I know there's a lot of sensors that I left off this list because I'm being reminded that like the 294 and the 492, there's a lot of sensors on the market nowadays. These are just what I have experiences on. So yeah. Let's see. Moving on to eyepieces. Eyepieces are always a fun time. There's so many good ones on the market nowadays too. When we all get our first telescope, and some of you who are watching this might be your introduction to astronomy. A lot of us here, including myself, we all got started with a basic telescope. A basic telescope generally comes with 1 to 2 eyepieces. Normally they're like Plossels, which is a very basic design. Usually it's like a 25 millimeter, somewhere in that range, and a 10, and somewhere in there. after a while, you figure out, hey, I want to try some more focal lengths. What I recommend when we do telescope help classes, what I like to tell people is before you go dump a ton of money into a bunch of eyepieces, let's experiment with focal length on eyepieces. This would be the benefit of going to a club outing where you can meet people and maybe you can try some different gear and see what you like. If you don't really want to go that far and you'd rather invest in a little bit of something, I always recommend the Celestron 1.25" eyepiece kit. And the reason being is it's fairly affordable. Depending on who you're buying from, I think they're on sale somewhere. This little guy, I recommend this kit to a lot of beginners, and I don't recommend it because it comes with all the filters and stuff like that. You can screw around with the filters. I don't like the filters. They don't do anything for me, but you can get acquainted with them. What I do like about this is it comes with a selection of eyepiece focal lengths. You get a 32. What all are you getting here? You get a 32. Oh, and they did it with the Barlow. You get a 32, a 17, 13, 8, and a 6, and a 2X Barlow. And they're smart about this because if you notice, there's nothing in that 10 range and nothing in the 25 range. This was thought out so it doesn't overlap with the eyepieces that you're getting in your telescope by default. So I like to recommend this before you go dump a ton of money into eyepieces, because what you're going to get out of this is you can play with all kinds of focal lengths. You can see what eyepieces you really like. And you may find like, hey, I use my 32 a lot, I use the 17 a lot, and I use an 8. I don't really use the Barlow that much, so okay. You get to kind of figure out what your 3 or 4 most used focal length eyepieces are going to be. From there, then I would usually recommend you go dump the money into some good lenses. And that way you're not just trying out different things. It's fun to try out things, but it gets expensive. If you know you're going to want to get a good set of lenses, just rip the Band-Aid off once. My eyepieces have stuck with me for years. I've slowly added to it. It didn't just happen over time or overnight. It takes time to build a good eyepiece set. And they accumulate because you start to flush out what you need depending on your needs. So, find out what focal lengths you're going to want to get. You can get a really nice eyepiece once you know what focal lengths you like to use. Like, for example, my big Daub is really fast, and I need to have eyepieces that are corrected for that. The Ethos from Teleview tend to be the best one for that. So, and the lowest power that I can use with that telescope is about 21 millimeters before I start to clip the light path because the exopupil gets too big. So I have the 21 Ethos, and I worked up to that lens. That's a pricey piece of kit right there. But you get one, and then you add another, and then over time you add another, and then you flush your set out. But you have to do what's right for you. Maybe the Televiews are going to be too much. You don't want to spend that much. There are plenty of great lenses out there from a multitude of manufacturers. Teleview and Pentax are probably what I would think are the top end, as well as Nikon. Nikons are kind of hard to find. Explore Scientific makes some good stuff. A lot of their stuff is actually really good. Botter has a large collection of lenses you can choose from. My favorite ones to recommend if you're a beginner and you want to try something a little bit better, but you don't want to break the bank, is the Celestron XL LX eyepieces. I have a set of those, and I bring them to outreach events, and I let people try them and borrow them. They are great lenses for the price. They're like $100 each. They're very well thought out. They've got nice eye relief. They go from 25 to 2.3, which is a lot. And they're a nice even set. those are great lenses if you want to upgrade from the typical Plössl or whatever comes with your telescope to a nicer lens, but you don't want to go ultra high end. That's a good way to do as well. And Art in the chat there also made a good recommendation that a good zoom lens can also be a nice way to experiment with focal lengths. On the Botter click stop 8-24 zoom is one of the best. I'm not a big fan of zooms. I like them for solar observing. But it's another route that you can go. And they are very effective eyepieces. But you have to work with what's going to work for you. It's your budget. It's your hobby. And you know how much you're going to get out. You know how much you're going to want to dump into this hobby. So get what's going to work for you. And just because someone has this or that or tells you this, that doesn't mean you have to do it. You're going to get 25 opinions from 25 different people. The sets that I have work for the things that I need to do. The sets for others work for what they're going to do. Everyone's different. So, and you don't have to stick with one manufacturer either. You can go with different ones. You can mix and match. I have friends who have some from Teleview, some from Botter, some from Celestron, and they're all in a case. For me, I like it to be clean and all one thing, but that's just me. But you don't do this overnight either. Let's see. Question. Can Quattro 300p circle handle full frame sensors? I believe it's best for crop sensors. You might have some trouble with full frame, especially towards the corners, and especially on the high resolution sensors like a 455, very tight little pixels. So you might have some issues with that. Flats should probably clean up the vignetting, but your mileage may vary on that, and it depends on the sensor. For my experience, Plössls are very nice. The Teleview Plössls are very good. You recommend the Celestron Silvertop. Celestron Silvertop Plössls were an older set of eyepieces. Some people actually collect them, and some of them are fairly hard to find nowadays. They don't make them like they used to. Those Japanese-made eyepieces, like when Vixen was really at their heyday, they're very good, but they can be hard to find on certain focal lengths. Telescopes and mounts. Let's talk about this real quick. Of course, the Virtuoso GTI, these are super popular right now. If you can even find a 150 millimeter version right now, good luck. They have been flying off the shelves for the holiday season. I don't even know if everyone's going to get one. They've just exploded, which is great. We do have 5-inch in stock, the 130s. If we don't have them on our website, check with your favorite dealer. Shop around to see who's got it. We still have time for you to get stuff. We're a week and a half away from Christmas. So at the time of this video. So there's plenty of time. There's usually a pretty good amount of inventory now. We're not dealing with that at the moment. So the Virtuoso GTIs are very good. Pick one of those up if you can. Star Adventure 2i. I think these are even on sale right now. Little telescopes, great travel mount. I forgot to clip that off. Perfect for coming eclipses. There are coming eclipses. These are always great to have one as well, but the big eclipse for us is done. So you'll be traveling. And what better mount to have than the 2i? This year, however, we unveiled the wave mounts, which have been quite popular. I'm starting to see more and more of them get out into the world. We have the Wave 100i and 150i. We've done multitudes of videos on these, and there'll be more. For those of you who are waiting, the steel tripod and the EQ6 adapter are on the way right now. So probably come January, you will see these publicly listed. We'll get pricing and all that up there probably after the holidays are over. There's just too much going on and they're not even here yet. But the nice thing is when we announce them, we should have inventory of them immediately. And if they sell out, they sell out. I will tell you, from testing purposes, if you own a Wave 150 mount or you're waiting for a Wave 150, the steel tripod is the way to go. They are super solid. The carbon fiber ones are very nice if you're using a small setup and you're doing some light imaging, but they are a little short. The steel tripod, the same one that comes with an EQ6, is way solid. It's where you will get the max capability of the Wave 150, and you can put the Wave 100i on there as well. Those are on the way. We also have the new peer extension adapter to adapt Star Adventurer, AZ-GTI, the AZ-GTE, anything with a 3/8 thread will adapt to the carbon fiber tripod that we have as well. Those are coming too. So there's going to be some new accessories for the Wave mounts that are arriving probably just after the new year. Keep an eye out for those as well. I think they'll really bring it home if you're looking for a Wave mount. You really want that steel tripod. It makes such a difference. And it actually brings it up to a really nice height as well if you're using it for visual. Another fun one's our Quattro 150. This is a great little astrograph telescope. It's a 6-inch Newtonian f4. We include the coma corrector, and the coma corrector reduces it to f3.4. It's lightweight. You can use it for visual work, although if you would need to use a visual coma corrector, the one that we include is for imaging. These are very affordable little things. If you're just getting started in imaging, this is a fantastic little scope, and it matches really well with a lot of those little small pixel cameras we were talking about earlier. So that's a fun one if you're just looking to get into imaging. Binoculars, you can never go wrong with a good pair of binoculars. Celestron makes good ones. Nikon, of course, Swarovski and Zeiss are like the best. I'm not a big binocular person, but a good pair of binoculars is something everyone should probably have laying around, whether it's for birds or just checking out landscapes or the night sky. If you're doing astronomy, 40 to 50 millimeter aperture is a really good one to have. Easy to handhold without being too difficult. The 70 millimeters get a little hefty. So yeah, so there's some stuff coming out there. Hold on just a sec. If you want even cleaner images with no color aberration, look for the ones that have ED, extra low dispersion, but that will add cost to it. They can be more expensive, so stuff like that. As far as the wave mounts go, I know some of you are kind of waiting for more reviews. Quiv has one, so you'll probably see his video coming here soon at some point. So, but Quiv has one of the Wave 150s, I believe is what he has. So we're waiting for that review to come out. But yeah, we're getting those wave mounts out there. I'm sure you'll see some more reviews coming as well. Will the Wave 150 and the Steel Tribe come as a kit combo? It's been discussed. It hasn't been solidified yet, though. So at first, probably no. Maybe in the future, but at this point, the answer to that is no. But we'll see. At this point, it hasn't been solidified. But once they get here, we'll see how they go. But there's not a plan at the moment to make it a kit right off the get-go. Let's see. Of course, there's our EQ6R. This has been our pride and joy for many years now. There's a lot of you out there that this mount is tried and true. They're on sale right now if you want to get a really nice, solid imaging platform. The EQ6Rs are available, and these have been such a great mount for so many people. You're good there. Let's see. This year we announced Heliostar 76. This is our hydrogen alpha solar telescope. These are on pre-order right now. You won't get it until spring. We've already gone over details on this. We're going to do another in-depth episode when I actually have one in my hands. The production sample right now is getting pictures taken. So I don't have it in my possession at the moment. But we have them on order. They do take a little bit of time to make because these are very specialized instruments, but you can pre-order these from your favorite dealer. And it's still going to be Solar Max next year, and for a couple more years, we're going to get some really good detail. So Heliostar is something we're really excited about that. So, if you want one of those, get on the pre-order list. They are slowly starting to ship in other regions of the world. So they are producing them, but these go through a lot of QC to make sure they're ready to go. How long is the warranty on Skywatcher mounts? Here in North America, it's 2 years, and that covers manufacturer defects. All of our warranty stuff is on our website at skywatchusa.com. Depending on other regions of the world, it might be different, but for here, it's 2 years manufacturer warranties. All right. That's pretty much it for our 2024 gift guide. There's one thing I wanted to show you. A friend of mine got this, and I had the little one, and then he got the bigger one. And we all need flashlights. Flashlights drive me nuts. I hate changing out AA's because they always die when I actually need them. And they're just kind of a pain. So these guys, Olight, some of you might be familiar with. I'm new to them. But I, during my events lately, have been using... Which one is this? This is the O-Clip Pro. Yeah, this guy right here. Here it is. I have not worked with Olight before. And haven't talked to them. Nothing. This is just my own user experience. This is an Olight Pro clip-on. They're on sale right now for $36. These have really bright white, a dimmer, broader white light, and a red light. And you just flip the switch right here to whatever mode you want. So there's like really bright, there's red, and then there's the not so bright, although it looks bright to you guys. And then there's a little power switch. You just turn it on and off. And it's USB-C charging, and it lasts a while. It has a little clip on it, so you can clip it to like your beanie, which I've done before, or your shirt. And it has little magnets inside of there too on the back end of the clip, so you can stick it to stuff. This has been super handy at events for setting up and tearing down in the dark. It's tiny, it's rechargeable. I hate headlamps because they blind everybody. This one, you can take it off. You can use it as a little flashlight. You can clip it on your shirt. These are really nice lights. And I'm just telling you from my own experience using them. So my friend Jim found these and been using these. The little guy that they make, the O-Clip, is a little complicated to use. It's kind of Control-Alt-Delete-esque. You got to get the right combination of the button to get it to turn on. The Pro version, though, this guy and the one you see on the screen, probably one of the best lights I've used for my events. It's just convenient. And you can keep them in the truck. They come in different colors. You can get them engraved if you want. They are a really nice flashlight if you're looking for something small. It's just a cool thing to have. Everyone needs a flashlight at some point. So that's a cool gift guide, a little thing too. That was like a last minute addition there. So anyway, that's it for this week. Next week we were supposed to have Anne Druin on, or Drian. I butcher it. I'm sorry. She had some family stuff, unfortunately, come up. So that episode is being moved to the end of February, but it will be live, which is actually better, in my opinion. But next week is actually going to be the State of Skywatcher, and where I will be on, my boss Jeff will be on, and our marketing specialist Jared. They run the back of this webcast for me and our team. They will be on. We'll be talking all things Skywatcher, from how the business is going to stuff to look forward to. We'll be talking all kinds of stuff. So if you want to know stuff, next week's going to be that episode. We will get that updated as well. For next week, we'll get the link and stuff refreshed, because it's already, there's a page for Anne's video there. We're going to update that probably today or early next week. And then that'll be it. Next week is the last episode of 2024. Then we're taking off for 2 weeks so we can be with family and enjoy the holidays. And then we'll be back in January. And we've got all kinds of fun stuff coming up for that. New products. We got NEAF coming up. All kinds of stuff is happening. So, yeah. Let's see. Is there any questions here? Does it have a dedicated red light? It does have a dedicated red light. All you have to do is just flip the switch to the R mode. And then there's red off. You don't have to cycle through buttons. You just flip the switch. It knows it's on red. I, like you, hate having to cycle through the whites to get to red. The way you cycle here is you just flip this little lever to white mode. Or if you want it to be on red, you flip it to red. You don't have to cycle through and press with button combinations. So anyway, if you like what you see here, please go ahead and subscribe. Leave a like on a video. Let us know how we're doing. Skywatch.threadless.com if you want some really cool swag. Skywatchusa.com and our various dealers if you want to buy Skywatcher stuff. It's not too late. A bunch of stuff is on sale. Other than that, that's our gift guide for this year. We'll see you guys next week for our last episode with the head of Skywatcher, and we talking all kinds of fun stuff there. So anyway, we'll see you guys next week. Clear skies. Have a good weekend. Don't get bogged down holiday shopping, and we will definitely see you guys next week. Have a good weekend. Maybe we'll see some of you tonight at Four Peaks. So take care. Have a good weekend. See ya. Bye.